Hello, my name is Cinnabon18, and this is a review for episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This episode had a good sense of fun to it, and this episode was about them trying to catch the organization who wants things to go back to the way they are the blip, from where it was before the blip. This episode started adding more political elements to it, such as the people wanting it to go back to the way it was before the blip. That, in a way, is political, as well as it having an African American lead and dealing with his experiences. This episode got more political than it was in the first one, and probably one of the more political Marvel experiences ever. The basic plot is just them trying to figure out the whole deal with US Agent and why are the villains doing what they are doing. Before I get into spoiler territory, I'm going to give you my score. This episode, I believe it is, of course, a 10 out of 10. It's much better than the first couple episodes of WandaVision, and this show has a sense of fun to it that others did not have. Now, into spoiler territory, I will explain just an overview of the episode. So, pause the video and come back later. The beginning of the episode starts with US Agent in a locker room preparing to go give an interview with someone from Good Morning America at his old high school. I am not a fan of his new suit. I do not like the US Agent suit, or Captain America's, he is called, but in the comics is referred to as US Agent. But I liked what they were kind of insinuating with this story. This scene with him giving the interview kind of gave me a The Boys vibe, the Amazon Prime show. The fact that he is treated as a celebrity, which is how you would treat superheroes in the modern age, is how it kind of feels like The Boys, where they are just like celebrities in our world. The superheroes are celebrities in theirs. The next scene has a buddy cop element to it, and the whole episode does with every interaction between Bucky and Falcon, which in this episode they do meet fairly pretty early on, where in the first episode they didn't, which honestly was kind of jarring to me in the first episode. But they go to sneak into a building to figure out what the villains are up to. And it has one of my favorite lines from the episode, where Falcon is talking to Bucky about how he was at Wakanda recovering, and it says Bucky's comic book name, or new comic book name, White Wolf. And I really like that line because it's like, oh, it's a reference to the comic books, which I always like those things. Sometimes they can be cheesy, but other times they're really good. But then they go to follow the villains who escape from this warehouse, and they think there's a hostage on the bus, or the truck rather, and they go to free the hostage, but they find out that it's the leader of the gang, and they get into a fight with the leader on top of the trucks, which I really like this action sequence. It was really fun and funny at the same time, which Marvel does a lot with their action sequences. But then Captain America shows up and also starts fighting, but they end up losing the fight and the people end up getting away. When Falcon and Bucky are walking to wherever they need to go to get out of the country, most likely to a plane, Captain America offers them a ride on a Jeep, and then they end up riding with him, even though they were first hesitant. And then they kind of get into arguments, and Captain America wants to work together with them, but then they eventually leave because he says some things that they don't like. And then Bucky ends up insinuating that he knows another super soldier from his past, where they end up later on down the line walking to this super soldier's house, where there's these kids outside who have another one of my favorite lines of this episode, where the kid's like, "Hey, it's the Black Falcon," and Falcon's like, or Sam is just like, "No, it's just Falcon." He's like, "No, my dad," and then the kid's like, "No, my dad said that you're Black Falcon." He's like, "Why? Because I'm black and I'm Falcon?" Like, I don't know. And then Falcon's like, "I'm just messing with you." I thought that scene was funny. Then Bucky and Falcon proceed to have a conversation with a guy named Isaiah, who's a super soldier back in the 50s. Isaiah then has an argument with them, so they have to leave. And Bucky and Falcon have an argument because Bucky did not tell Falcon that there were super soldiers in the past, other ones other than Captain America or Steve Rogers. And so they have an argument, and the police show up. And the police ask Falcon for his ID, which, if you don't know, he is an African American. So that is another way, like, it tackles social issues in this episode. And basically, one of the other cops tells him that he's an Avenger, but they also have to arrest Bucky because he skipped his court-mandated therapy session. So it jumps to later where they are in the jail, or where Bucky is in jail, and Captain America or U.S. agent is able to get Bucky out of jail because he's like, "Oh, I want to work with him." But his therapist says he and Sam need to have a session together, Bucky and Sam. So they do, and it's just more buddy cop antics. And they go outside of the police station and meet with Captain America, where they basically decide they're not going to work together. But Captain America basically says, "Stay out of my way," in a sinister way. It goes to, I forget where it was, but the villains are at an airport, and somebody is trying to hunt them down, and they're loading up a plane, and one of them stays back and tries to fend off the people who are attacking them, and they escape, but the guy who was fending them off died. Then for the final couple scenes, Bucky is talking to Sam about how there's a person who knows all of Hydra's history, and that the people who imprisoned Isaiah would know about the new super soldiers would be Zemo, who was in Captain America Civil War. So then it cuts to Zemo in a prison cell, and that's the end of the episode. The episode was just really good, and I'm assuming if you watch the spoiler part, you either don't care that much or you've already seen it, so you would know. Let me know what you thought of the episode down below in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.